Welcome back to the Intangible Podcast. I'm really excited to sit here with my man Jordan Ta'amu.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you got it.
Look at that. You know, these more names will get me all messed up. But Jordan, man, really excited to have you here. Yeah. You know, before we kind of really get started here, I want to just kind of highlight a little bit. You know, you're from Pearl City, Hawaii. Mm-hmm. You grew up in the Samoan culture, yep, which I'm really interested to dive into, just from a family values and you know, the strength of those cultures there. Mm-hmm. You was a starting quarterback at Ole Miss, 2016. Through 2018. You finished your career at Ole Miss. You went on to lead the offense in passing yards in the SEC, all-time leader in total passing yards in the SEC. And is it still, those records still there?
It's up there. I mean, I think I have the most 300-yard passing game in a season at Ole Miss.
See, look at that. Look at that. You know, like I said, you led the SEC in passing yards in 2018. You entered the NFL as an undrafted free agent. You've navigated through multiple rosters before finding your time, you know, at the XFL, breaking through, becoming a superstar there. You went on to win MVP, but also win a championship there. And so, Jordan, you know, a career spans across a lot of different fronts, which is a lot of experience, and we're really excited to dive into your story, man. Welcome to the Intangible Podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so blessed to be here. Yeah.
Well, Jordan, before we jump into this podcast, man, you know, because you're a former Rebel, our Rebels had a tremendous year. Yes. You know, we didn't get to that final dance that we were trying to get to, but with all the distraction with the Lane Kiffin stuff, and again, you know, thankful for Lane for what he's been able to do and build a program. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, how he went out far as just trying to burn the building down. But now I'm very thankful for Keith Carter and his leadership, Pete Golden, you know, stepping in and being the stability that the program needs. Yeah. I think Pete is probably one of the most relatable coaches I've been around. I got a chance to spend some time with him, watch film. Mm-hmm. I'm a center, man. He had me in a old age thinking about, hey man, I should have made that commitment over the defense side of the ball. Right, so I think the program is in great hands. Yeah. But to that, we got to cheers. We got to cheers our Rebels with a little bourbon. We're in this daytime, so normally I'm doing this around coffee time, man. But cheers to our Rebels.
Cheers to the Rebels, man.
Great season.
So proud of you guys, everything you guys accomplished. Cheers.
More to come. I think this is going to be a you know, they got a chance to follow up and have a good year. Transfer portal's going well. So really excited for the Rebels and what it means. But on that note, like, you know, I was at the Sugar Bowl and I found myself getting really emotional, not thinking that I would, but in a place where you see what has been built there, and then you able to go back to the foundation of, you know, my class back, you know, before that. Deuce from Romero Miller, then Eli, and then come along my class, those foundational pieces. You know, what does that rank for you in those building blocks that we've been building at Ole Miss?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you guys, you know, set the standard for us as players, and you know, not knowing a lot about Ole Miss and just being able to grab onto the culture as soon as I stepped foot on the campus was just a surreal feeling. The love and support, you know, of the fans and people showed to, you know, not just us as players, but as us as humans and just people. And, you know, that's what I loved about Ole Miss the most, is that they cared for each and every one of us. And just to see Ole Miss go as far as they did, you know, breaking records and, you know, doing things unheard of at Ole Miss is such a surreal feeling. And for them to do that, I was just a proud alumni. Took in every second, cheered them on every second. So dang proud of that team and everything that they accomplished through the ups and downs, the obstacles, the coaches, and you know, players thinking about leaving. Like, none of that mattered. They all, hey, let's play the next game, 1-0 mindset each and every week, and it showed out there. It does suck that they didn't get to play in the final game. They deserved it, and that would have been a Cinderella story. But I'm just so happy the way they fought, the way, you know, Keith Carter handled every situation.
Yeah. Now, Jordan, I had a theory about this whole thing, where when I think about this generation and think about the distractions, all the different distractions that, you know, these kids have kind of become more callous to those distractions versus when we were coming along, a coach get fired and then there was a lot of distraction. You know, when Cutcliffe got fired, there was a lot of uproar and distractions around it for players. But now, as you've been on the other side of it, and now, knowing that you're going to audition for all these different teams, do you think that this generation of athlete has now, especially with NIL, has transitioned to that model of like, I don't care who the coach is, because at the end of the day, I have to go out and audition for all the other teams that are looking at me. Yeah. And so I can't hurt my value because I don't show up. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, like these guys, they're creating their own tape. They're creating their own legacy for their future. I mean, they're, writing their own stocks. So you just can't let that affect you. And I felt like these kids at Ole Miss done a great job doing that. Not letting, the outside noise affect who they are as players and as people. They're just going to go out there, make some film, and make something happen out of nothing. And that's what they did. Yeah.
Nevertheless, we're excited and proud for our Rebels, man. And I appreciate you jumping in that. Sorry I digress, but it's just there's been a topic of mine for me ever since I knew you was going to come in and have a conversation with me. So
I love talking about the Rebels.
Yeah, man. Awesome. That's awesome. Well, Jordan, let's jump into your story, man. You, like I said, you grew up in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. What did growing up in Hawaii in the Samoan culture teach you about discipline, character, and leadership, these things that we talk about that are intangibles, and I feel like the Samoan guys that I've been around all kind of carry those same kind of values and traits. So take me through a little bit of that upbringing for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone knows in the Polynesian culture, we're raised with discipline, and there's no easy way around it. Our parents disciplined us to become and shape the man that we are today, and we. As Samoans, we stand by the 3 F's, and that's faith, family, and football. And we always, in every household in the Polynesian culture, we always put God first. And the way we were raised was just to put God first, and everything will fall in line. Respect our parents, respect our elders, always be polite, and always do what they say, and good things will come. So, being in that Polynesian culture, that Samoan culture, just disciplined me to become the person and the man that I am today, to know that there are going to be obstacles, but hey, let's move on to the next page. Like I've always had that mindset of, if something bad happens, hey, something good is bound to happen. So just keep working, put your head down, and grind.
Did you grow up in a big family? Did you have lots of siblings?
Yeah, there's 4 of us. Not as big, but the church family also just made that family even more bigger. So every Polynesian knows that the church is our second family, and we have a lot of cousins on the island, off island. So just being able to all come together in a household for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, just seeing everybody it just makes the family more bigger. Basically.
Yeah. Now I know you've been around a lot of athletes, a lot of black athletes and their families and stuff. Now, when you talk about a comparison, is it just as loud as black families, Italian families when it comes to Thanksgiving and holidays? Can you hear yourself think?
I think it's just as loud. They do the foul moves and stuff, and all the cheering and yelling. But I think it's the same thing. It's so funny how similar it is.
Well, man, that's awesome. Now, when did football for you start to become this thing that you knew you wanted to do?
Baseball was my first love. Started that at 9, and then played football a year later. And I was just in that football, baseball world, like a little clock. So I was just baseball season, then right into football season. So I transitioned easily between both. But when it came down to it, I think I loved football more, and that's what carried me, to play college ball.
Yeah. Now, when you started the whole football track, and this is what you jumped from baseball to football. How did you start to recognize that football was the sport for you versus baseball?
It was very hard to tell. I mean, I felt like I was good at both, and I wanted to play both, for as long as I can. And I had, a lot of role models that played both, So I wanted to, become like one of those athletes that, play in the NFL and MLB at the same time. But I think it was my high school year, junior season. I remember I was like, if I want to make it big, if I want to go somewhere in life, I have to make sacrifices. And I had to sacrifice baseball. And, it sucked because I had to tell my team, I had to tell my teammates, my coaches, hey guys, I'm going to pursue football. I believe, I'm going to go a long way with that. And it was just so hard looking in their eyes and be like, dang, like we wanted you to finish the year off with us. But I had to make that sacrifice to become great in football.
Yeah. Now, did you play quarterback the whole time, or were quarterback something that you
quarterback and safety?
Quarterback and safety.
Yeah. So I was hitting people downhill. But I only played safety when I was like in JV. Once I got to varsity, they're like, "Yeah, you're done. You're done. Like focus on football. I mean, quarterback, and you have a great arm. So let's just stick with that."
Yeah. Now, again, I can name several guys that are coming out of Hawaii. Who was your role model at the QB position, that the guy that you looked up to and say, "Hey, I want to model my game after this guy"?
It was always Marcus Mariota for me. Just seeing him play at Oregon. Everyone even called me Little Mariota because I had the towel the same, right behind. I had, the visor. I mean, so it's everything. It's just like the running style, the read option. I was just mimicking my game after him, and they just started calling me that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Now, again, because you also were a baseball player, who was your role model in baseball?
It would have to be Colton Wong. I mean, I think he's been, Hawaii boy too, and won the Golden Glove, a couple years, and he's always been the guy I've wanted to be like, with the quick release and just the way he's so athletic out there and, knows how to get on base.
And when you think about those foundational pieces, when you're talking about intangibles, those things that really makes you who you are, what are some of those foundational pieces that still lives with you today that carries over from the early upbringing for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's just staying faithful, dedicating, my work, to God first, always glorifying that and making sure that, he's the head and he's a step stool for me. And then also just, being disciplined, like I said, like that's what raised me, staying disciplined and then staying true to myself, not going outside the boundaries, just, playing my game, knowing where I come from, and using everything I grew up in Hawaii, using that, put it in Mississippi, put it in New Mexico Military Institute. Everywhere I've been, here with DC Defenders. So everywhere I've been, I carry that with me, just a little Jordan Talmadge inside of me.
Yeah. Now, is mom and dad still that accountability? They call to make sure that you fall in that.
Hey, they're calling
faith, family, football, and you don't get those out of order now.
Yeah, don't get it out of order. They always remind me, hey, are you reading your word? Are you praying?
Yeah.
So they're always on me about that. So I love it.
3, 2, 1. Parents, the recruiting process is one of the biggest decisions you'll ever face for your child. And talent isn't enough. Coaches are looking for the intangibles, like composure, coachability, communication, and leadership. And that's what Team Q measures. Get clear insights into your child's intangibles so they stand out when it matters most. Go to teamq.io and help your athlete unlock greatness.
Tell me about the moment where you realized that the responsibility was now yours to move this forward. You got the foundation. Now it's time for you to lean into those responsibilities. Like my 16-year-old son, we constantly having these conversations about, hey, if you know this is where you want to go, I'm not going to drag you kicking and screaming here. It's something that you have to figure out. Yeah. And so now it's starting to evolve into, you got to wake yourself up. You got to get in the weight room yourself. You got to be able to ask for what you need.
Yeah, that's 100% true. I think whenever I, realize, hey, I'm on my own, I got to do this myself if I want to, reach another goal of mine. And I think it was that transition from high school to college. I didn't get too many D1 offers, didn't get a lot of D2 offers. All I had was D3 and junior college. And, I took the junior college route because it offered me a full ride. And that's when I made that decision. Like, hey, if I want to be great, like now I'm on my own in this New Mexico Military Institute. I have a bald head. I'm wearing uniform every day. I'm in a military school in the middle of nowhere, Roswell. So just being able to, kind of lock in and know that, hey, this is on me now. Like my parents are not here. They're supporting from far away. My friends are not here. They're supporting from far away. This is on me. I need to dig my head in and know what I need to do to become great and to get out of this junior college. Because I thought it was over if I don't get anything from there. So I think that was a big awakening for me, was that little transition.
When I think about now the route that a lot of guys have to go because of the transfer portal and because of, NIL, do you think your path is a path that created that hunger, the discipline and knowing that you wanted to get to a big program? Because it's different now where not all the 4 stars and 5 stars, everyone, again, you have to train your mind differently to think different, versus here's my options versus like, okay, this will be maybe an option for you.
Right.
It's just not going to be those Power 4 offers that it was easily to get back then because of the transfer portal.
Yeah, I mean, I believe I made it out the mud, going through the junior college route and just being able to, come out of there and get a scholarship to Ole Miss. I mean, that was a dream come true, and forever grateful for the coaches at Ole Miss for giving me that opportunity to showcase my talents. But I felt like I had to work that much harder than, guys that, got offers coming out of high school and stuff. And it's so tough just being in Hawaii. I mean, just so hard to get recruited out of there. Went to a small D2 Pro City high school. So just being able to come out of there, come out of junior college, I'm forever grateful. And it was just a testimony of my faith and my hard work and what it took to get here.
What was that? What was your mindset going into Ole Miss to know that you're still competing for a job?
Right. My mindset was always, hey, be the starter, be prepared like the starter, like you're going to start. When I got there, there was a 5-star already, high school kid that already had a year under his belt at Ole Miss.
In the system.
Yeah, in the system. So for me to go in there and try to take his job, that was impossible. So I really had to just go in there with the mindset of, you know what, anything can happen. Let me prepare every week like I'm a starter. And I knew, God was going to give me that opportunity. And it came LSU weekend in front of my parents too. They just came out there to watch the Ole Miss LSU game. And I told them, hey, yeah, this is going to be a good game to come to. And while they're in the stands, I end up coming in second quarter and, taking over the reins of the offense and just never looked back from there.
I've been a backup in my career and knowing that you got to stay ready to go.
Yeah.
But you've been in JUCO and now you're at a big SEC school and still haven't gotten those live game reps. What was that feeling like to come in and compete at that level and feeling that calm and composure, knowing that you had prepared yourself to do so?
Yeah, you said it. I had to stay calm and composed the entire game there, and just also leading up to it. I mean, it was just the way I prepped and the way I was confident in myself that I knew if I stepped onto that field, I'm not giving that quarterback another shot at taking my job again. I knew like if I was going to do this, I was going to do this, go in 100% and lay my body on the line and do what I needed to do to keep that position and stay there for the rest of my college career. So I just had to stay true to myself and be confident in myself. And I knew I just let go and let God.
Yeah, Wally Pipp. It's kind of the same thing at Trinidad did this year.
Exactly
it's
what
like
he did. Yeah,
when you get in there, you don't let go of the reins, and you got to have that confidence and composure to do that, along with being prepared for the opportunity.
Yes,
and so
he reminded me of myself back then.
Yeah,
just a young kid going out there from a D2 school,
having fun.
You're just having fun. Yeah.
Well, you end up leading the SEC in passing. Again, what was starting to click for you to kind of get into that? What was that mental side that started to click for you? The belief, being able to compete at that level to say, I'm leading the SEC coming from a junior college. Again, I'm thinking about, Trinidad and
it's crazy. It's crazy. I just, Phil Longo had a great offense and, to put up those numbers, I mean, it's easy when you have A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, we had Elijah Moore, Van Jefferson. We had Dawson Knox, and then in the backfield we had Jordan Wilkins and Scotty Phillips. So we had an offense. It was insane how good our offense was, and each and every one of them worked so hard during the off season. We're staying up late in the indoor, just throwing routes and just preparing for my last year, their last year too. So it was just the hours that nobody sees. That's what got us to, the numbers that we put up our senior year. Wasn't the wins and losses that didn't add up to what we were talented-wise as an offense, but as a whole, I think it was just such a surreal feeling to be able to throw to those guys and make plays.
Well, you had
it was some great talent. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man! You talk about DK and AJ.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
We had an offensive dream.
I mean, wow. Whew. All right. Well, when you think about that, you throw into those type of guys, you got that kind of talent, how did you, what was was there a lot of pressure to get those guys the ball because you had weapons all over the place, and how did you handle those high pressure situations when you're competing in the SEC where there's a lot of expectations and Ole Miss was on the rise?
That's a great question. It was just, they looked at me like, the new guy just coming in, they're like, Jordan, like, I need you to throw me the ball. And like, I'm like, hey, if you're open, I'm gonna throw it to you. So like, just relax. Like, let me just go through my reads and then I'm hitting you every single time. And, ever since, I kind of voiced up a little bit, they trusted and believed in me.
Yeah.
Not only them, but the whole team. And they're like, all right, let's get behind Jordan and rally behind him. Because, in college, I wasn't very outspoken. I was very, lead by example guy, like doing the right thing and always, just being there. And, I'm not the type to yell in your face. I pull them to the side and be like, hey, maybe we run this way, or let's be on the same page so we can make, get touchdowns and get more yards. And, that's what clicked for us. But all in all, like, it was just such a crazy feeling to be able to throw to those guys and just the work they put in and we all put in.
I mean, what do you think fans misunderstand about playing the quarterback position with those type of weapons?
Yeah, they just think we should be able to win all games, but it takes the whole team. I mean, it's not just the offense. I mean, it's it's defense, special teams, the three phases in football, and it's so tough if you're just an offensive fire. But having everybody just being the glue too, and just having that brotherhood within the team, makes for better records and makes for better seasons.
You think about all the different characters and things that you have within a locker room, and then you think about, those guys wanting the ball, and then you start thinking about the SEC defense. What's harder what's harder to read, the SEC defense or managing the emotions of, those type of skill guys?
It was definitely the SEC defense. I mean, just coming from a junior college and then going to the SEC where these guys are, 6'4", 6'5", towering over you, and just running at you full speed, and, corners and safeties that are fast and they know how to disguise. Just playing against that too. But, I can deal with my receivers. I can deal with them. But, dealing with the opposite team and just seeing them run at you full blast with, so much anger that they always want to hit the quarterback. I mean, there was some scary moments, but, I pushed through. I can take a hit. And, I stood right back up and continued to play.
Well, I mean, when you think about the SEC, you think about LSU, Alabama, Arkansas, you think about the Georgias, it's not just the first guys that's rolling in that is big and strong. It's the second guys. Yeah. And then when you're looking at Alabama and Georgia, it's the third string guys are 5 stars.
They're deep, so yeah. They're deep with like depth and how good, each team is, and especially nowadays with with the NIL and stuff. So
man, it's crazy when I go down to college games now and I walk out on the field. I don't know, you're still playing, so you probably don't feel this, but man, I feel small.
No, I feel the same way. I feel like I'm just in normal civilian clothes and they're all in pads and they look huge. I know exactly what you mean.
I was like, man, how does guys? I mean, I was a 6'3", 6'3" and a half, 320-pound lineman, and like
that's small nowadays.
I mean,
right?
now that's like. Man, no, get out of here, little guy.
You're right.
Don't wear that shirt in this club.
Yeah, get out the way. And then now they got all big chains and stuff. I was like, man, I never had this in college.
Hey, man, they making that money, man. They're making the money. I hope they figure out how to save them and invest. So, all right, Joe, man, we're going to do a quick 2-minute drill, which you're very familiar with. It's 2-minute drill, quarterback, leading the way, going high tempo, quick tempo, quick rapid fire questions. All right, here we go. What was the toughest defense you faced in the SEC?
Alabama.
Yeah. All right. Nick Saban defenses, huh?
It was crazy. Maybe fumble once.
What was one of your favorite Ole Miss memories?
Favorite Ole Miss memory was actually the first play against Alabama. Out of the gate, 75-yard touchdown to DK Metcalf on the left side. I'll never forget it. The fans were wearing powder blue lays, for Hawaii against Hawaii. It was me against Tua. And then just throwing that deep ball to AJ. He was wide open. And then, just seeing him run down the sideline, I was yelling and screaming as loud as I could. And that was the loudest I ever heard Bo Hemingway. The loudest.
All right, I'm gonna see if yours match up with mine's here. The loudest stadium you've played in
LSU.
college, LSU, Death Valley, man. I tell you, that place
Valley,
is
8 o'clock.
the night games, man. Wow,
It's insane.
that place is rocking, man.
Yes.
One quarterback you studied growing up. I think you probably already answered that.
Marcus Mariota.
Marcus Mariota. All right. Best advice you've gotten from a coach.
Best advice: preparation beats talent. And I think I feel like every coach I've been around always said that to me, and I've always prepared in a way where no matter what, they couldn't outthink me, they couldn't outsmart me, and as long as I knew where the ball was going, we were unstoppable. Yeah.
Another way of saying that, and what I like to tag it with is talent opens the door, but intangible keeps you there. So,
I like that.
What's harder, college pressure or pro uncertainty?
Pro uncertainty.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Constantly putting in that work and constantly exceeding in the place that you are, but still not getting that.
I'm living that to this day. It's crazy. It's just the uncertainty of life too. Is just don't know what's gonna happen next and all that. So
right. Go to pregame ritual.
My pregame ritual, always on the bus going to the game. I don't listen to rap. I don't listen to R&B. I listen to like praise and worship, gospel. That's kind of my ritual going to the stadium from the hotel. Is gospel all the way there, and then as soon as I walk off the bus, take off the headphones, and I'm ready to go.
Locked in. That's locked in. So you're that calm before the storm.
Yes, calm before the storm. Always.
I like it. All right. One trait every quarterback must have.
Resilience.
Yes. Because it's going to come.
You got to have it. It's going to come.
It's going to come.
And you got to be ready.
Leadership for you in one word.
I would say, let's go, dedicated.
Dedicated.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Your football journey in one word.
Opportunity.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I was going to say incomplete.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like that one too.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we're gonna jump back in here, man. Yeah. So you went on. You were undrafted. You've bounced around to some different teams trying to make your headway, and you like I said, you found a place in the XFL. Mm-hmm. And what has the experience been like, kind of bouncing around, but finding a home, still knowing that there's still a lot more you have to give to a NFL program.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge, and it's definitely a blessing to be able to still play. And I'm so grateful for the spring leagues. That's been I've been a part of the last couple of years. Going from the XFL to USFL to back to the XFL and then UFL, going into my third year. It's been a surreal feeling, and just to be able to always come back and always showcase my talents is a huge blessing, and to know that there's always going to be a home for me there. But my goal is to get out and get to the NFL and showcase my talents at a higher level, and I feel like I've performed in a way where I do deserve a shot in the league, no matter if it's a workout or hey, come in for practice squad. Like I want to do something to show that I can still hang and I can still ball.
Yeah. Now here's a vulnerable question for you.
Yeah.
What is the mental toll like, knowing that you're always being evaluated and that evaluation is not panning into, paying off to make that practice squad or get on that 53-man roster?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely taking a toll on me, and and that I think that just challenges me to stay consistent and stay faithful, and just know that there is a bigger plan for me. No matter what I do, I always gotta know that, all right, let's look at the next step ahead. I know there's always gonna be a bigger plan somewhere else. Maybe I didn't get called for a reason. Maybe this year is even a bigger year than I had last year. So no matter what, I've always said that just keep grinding, stay consistent in what I'm doing, and no pressure.
Yeah. I mean, how do you separate that though? It's like you have the big theory of what my faith is, what what it is. But now in real life, in actuality, what's that process for you when you go in and day out, one rep at a time? How do you manage all of these other emotions, knowing that you got a place where you can go to as a safe haven, but in those moments you still have these human emotion that come up. How do you manage those things?
It's so tough to manage those. I mean, I think the best thing for me is staying busy. Yeah. In the world, like just doing things to keep my mind off, things that I could have had. But putting it to the positive side, and I feel like that helped me come a long way, to where I am today too. Is just always staying positive and staying busy and just doing other work stuff, or staying active if it's doing fun things that just keeps my mind off those things in the real world. So it's really tough to like kind of transition, but I know if I just keep grinding and just always stay ready, that it will come. So praying and hoping for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you think the thing that separates guys who keep that track, keep working hard, versus those guys who see that roadblock and then disappear?
A lot of people give up once they don't have it their way. Yeah. A lot of people turn to other things once they don't have it once it doesn't go their way. But there's only one person you need to turn to, and then also with the family support and just with the friends, just knowing yourself too, your value, knowing that you can, that you're better than what other people are telling or other people are saying about you. You're way better than that. So the fact that you just gotta love yourself and know that you can do this and not turn to other things. You just gotta stay with it, stay strong. It's gonna be hard. There's gonna be a lot of obstacles up and down. But that's when you rely on your friends. That's when you rely on your family, your support system to, hey guys, I need help. Talk me through what I need to do for these next steps, or, I just lay a hand over me, pray over me. Just little something like that will go a long way.
Yeah. And that's called being self-aware of where you are and being honest and being vulnerable. And then those pieces continue to carry you because you're able to kind of let those things move through you versus like bottling it up and then letting it, take you off your course.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Jordan, I know we're sitting here running this bourbon, man. We gotta drink some of this bourbon while we're sitting here.
Yeah, we got to.
So I'm gonna give you a pause here to have a little sip. That is a Willet.
A Willet?
Yep, 13-year high rye. A barrel pick that we did, and so it's become one of my favorites.
This is a good bottle.
Yeah. All right, so how do you get the clarity that you need to lead at the precision that you need to lead at?
Great question. You just gotta, show your teammates. How I lead is just showing them exactly what they need as a leader. They need someone calm-headed. They need someone, if there's a fire going on in the house, you're staying calm, cool, collective. You're telling everybody go this way. So just having that cool mindset and just knowing that, staying positive is like the main thing for me as a leader. Leading my team and then also just leading myself. I'm always on the positive side of things. When
you take ownership of your path, and you've definitely taken ownership of your path, and you've won Player of the Year, you won championships, and so when you take that ownership, how does it bring that ease feeling about yourself, knowing that I'm in control of my path, no one else, not another GM, not another coach, but me, I'm in control of that path. What does that do for you?
I mean, it does a lot that like I have the final say, and that what I do on the field and off the field, it pertains to me, and how I portray and carry myself is exactly the type of person I am. And kind of just being who you are and staying true to yourself. I think that's the main thing of why and how I carry myself, and knowing that everything's on me. And when I'm in control of my own destiny, and when I control on the field, and then like it just sucks whenever I don't get that opportunity, but I always stay true to myself, know exactly what I need to do for myself as a player and person off the field. So,
but Jordan, man, I got a lot of distractions now, man. I got
Right.
NIL going on right now. I got, I have all kinds of other opportunities right in front of me,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's girls or alcohol, as a young athlete with all the pressures of social media and all that, looking for an outlet, what advice do you have for me?
I'll say separate yourself.
Yeah.
Separate yourself. I mean, it could be the friend groups. It could be the area you're in. Just separate yourself and just know that, there are better things ahead, that there are, surrounding yourself by, people that will lead you and that will inspire you to become a better version of yourself. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah. I just throw that in because we as former guys or guys who are still competing at that level, I try not to take it for granted that this generation is in a different time. And so, I'm thankful for growing up and not having cameras and, social media the way that this athlete. And so you try not to bring that vision, that version of it to where we are now, but still asking these questions in a way that can still help athletes understand this young athlete understand that you have a lot of pressure, and we understand you have a lot of pressure, but you also owe it to yourself. You also owe it to your parents. You think about the sacrifice that parents make to give you the opportunity, because again, football is not what it was when I grew up, what it was when you grew up. Now you got 7-on-7, all this travel, you have combine camps, all these different things that you have to go to, and you didn't used to have to do that because they find you.
And all that costs money.
And it costs a lot of money. And so when you look at, I heard a story the other day when, asking kids to be thankful for their parents, because when you look at all the sacrifice your parents have to make, don't embarrass their last name. And so I say that to say, like, when you look at this athlete and helping them separate themselves from all other noise, is always remember, write it down. Remember, hey, this is what it cost my parents to take me to this tournament. This is what it costs for gas, flights, food, hotels, and this is my last name. How do I not embarrass their last name that they so proudly carried throughout my time of playing this sport? And so always thinking about those things as you're trying to find ways to separate yourself from the crowd. And I just had to add on to that because it's just fresh on my mind as I think about what's happening in this space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No,
so, now Jordan, when you go on, you win, the XFL Offensive Player of the Year. What was that feeling like? Knowing that you're trying to find your footing, and then you find your footing, and then you go on a historical run, and and you win this.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a surreal feeling. I mean, it just wasn't on me. It was my whole team. I felt like we won that trophy. Just executing at a high level and, playing smart football and just finding a way to win. It's so hard to win in a professional league. I don't care if it's the indoor league. It's so hard to win in a professional league. And the way we did it was, grit. And, we were, hard nosed. We, it was DC versus everybody. And that's the mindset we looked at it, that, nobody cares about you guys. Nobody cares about what's going on the outside, on the inside. Like, let's just go out there and perform and win games. And, that will get the spotlight that we need. That will get the attention we need from teams in the NFL. So that was my mindset going into it. And winning that trophy and holding it up and, winning that Offensive Player of the Year. And then that championship, I wanted that championship more than anything.
Yeah.
And we got it.
Yeah. So in that, what does consistency mean for you, and how do you stay consistent?
Staying consistent, just, having a schedule, having a, kind of repetition and, kind of repeating the same things over and over. No matter if it gets easy, no matter if it gets hard, you're doing the same thing over and over. I got a chance to, sit behind Patrick Mahomes with the Chiefs and just kind of watch what he does as a starter, a Super Bowl champion, MVP. Just watching what he does and how he stays consistent with his game. It don't matter if it's practice, no matter if it's walkthroughs or, prepping for the Super Bowl. He was always the same, always consistent. And, being a young 21-year-old watching that kind of grew me to who I am today. I'm always trying to be consistent in everything I do, saying the same schedule, wearing the same outfits in practice if I have to. I mean, people have those little things like to help them win games, and you just always want to be that consistent with yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I asked that question because it is, again, spring ball is a little different. You don't go as long as you do as the NFL season. So you have more time to do that and to, and obviously you've figured out how to stay consistent because you've done well in this league where you have a lot of time to not stay on and not continue to hone your craft.
Right. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So I'm still saying the same mindset, the same schedule every day. So I'm not changing nothing.
Well, Jordan, when you think about legacy and you think about, obviously you want to get to that, you want to get to the big dance, know, but let's just say you don't get to the big dance. What will your legacy mean to you when it's all said and done?
I've always wanted my legacy to, not only for kids, but for my future kids to look at me and be just proud of the person I am, and to know that through the trials, through the storm, I stayed with it, and I knew myself, and I knew that I had that fire inside of me that I can still go out there and compete. And I want to just say I competed to the last second till they told me no. I'm gonna keep playing. I'm gonna keep working my butt off until they tell me no, and that's what I'm just going to keep doing until they tell me no. So all in all, I just want them to know that, I was a competitor.
When you think about your career, where you are, where you want to be, do you think about the transition when you're done?
I honestly do, yeah. It's a scary thought. I've always wondered what I wanted to do after football. And, right now I just, teach workout classes. I personal train. I teach young quarterbacks. And I love doing that because it gives back to the community. But, I've always thought about, coaching later on and, maybe moving back to Hawaii and coaching. But just some way to help the next community or the next generation. And I think coaching will help me do that. Yeah. And I don't want to coach yet, so I just want to keep playing until I can. And but
just keep that in the back of the mind.
Very back.
Just kind of thinking about what does the transition look like, maybe, but not start kind of really getting into
it's still in the back. It'll slowly make its way forward. But right now I feel great. I feel the best I've ever felt, healthy, and so
yeah, that's awesome. Now, Jordan, if you had to go back, I like to ask this question. If you had to go back and talk to your 17-year-old self, and again, this is a hindsight question. So you're 17 and you know what you know now. Yeah. What would you say to your 17-year-old self?
I'll say, save your money, son. Save your money. I mean, just. As a kid, just getting all this money and stuff, like coming out of college is just like, they don't teach you that stuff in school. So I think that was the main thing, honestly. I was getting these paychecks, in the league and stuff. And I was just spending where, if I had classes or you got to go through those things to learn. Right. So I just learned a lot of those things. And, if I was telling my younger self about, hey, save your money, be smart with it, invest and buy something that you invest in for the rest of your life. So I think that's like the main thing I would tell myself.
Yeah. Finding stuff to invest in and brings your ROI. Yeah. On that, in that same vein, when you think about, again, expressing those kind of things to a young athlete, that is, they're getting some big checks now, what's important, not, outside of what you just said, save your money, but take us through like the right people to have you around you. How do you identify the right people? Because I think that's as more important than some of the other pieces of what goes on in football.
Yeah, it's so important.
Or in sports in general.
Yeah, it's so important to have that, that friendship and that brotherhood around you. Because that's the people you look at, when things are going hard, or who you want around you when you're, having the success that you're having. So
there's a lot of people that got their hands out and want something. Want something from you. So, it's very key.
You gotta find that balance, and you gotta know who your true friends are, and you gotta separate yourself from from guys who just want to hang out with you because of your name, because of your fame. And you know, as you get older, you slowly figure out who those people are and who really looks out for you. And, you know, when you're doing something bad, they would tell you a good friend would tell you, hey, let's shaping up. Like you're doing, like, I don't see you doing that. So like, you know, a good friend would tell you that. A bad friend will let you keep doing it. So, you know, just seeing that as I got older, kind of shaped me to where I have a friend group now where I feel like we're strong and that I can lean on whenever I go through hard times, and they can come to me. We can talk as men, and just sit and talk about life and what's going on, and I think that's a great thing to have, and just always be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, absolutely. People that's going to pour into you.
Yes.
All right, Jordan. Last question for you, man. Okay. As we wrap up here, and I will reserve that because I may think of something else. But when you think about your upbringing, your life, your career, where you are today, what are some of those intangibles that you can rest assured say this is what has made me who I am today?
Yeah, just the my faith and my hard work and the dedication I put into everything I do, no matter how big, how small, shaped me and made me the man I am today. Just doing the little things right. If you do the little things right, God will trust you with the big things. So I've always made sure I've always, done the little things right.
Yeah.
Always attention to detail. That was my thing. I was always attention to detail no matter what. Even when I write, I'm always detailed. When I take notes, always detailed. So, everything I do, I want it to be detailed. I want to be on time for everything. I never want to be late. And I just want them to know that, Jordan, always a detailed guy, was never late for anything. And he showed up when we needed him.
As I think about these aspects of who we are, maybe whoever's listening to this podcast may have a nugget that they can pull from you. And so we really appreciate you sharing that story. So hopefully it touches someone, help someone, reach someone, teach someone. So thank you for sharing, man. Look forward to following you the rest of your career in Ather, because there will be an Ather, and I know that you got big things and bright things because you got a great head on your shoulder, man. So
yes, sir.
Thank you for this.
Thank you for having me on here. Can't wait for another great year with the DC team, 2026. Go. And I'm ready to.
It's official.
It's official.
He just
re-signed.
Just signed.
Let's go.
He just re-signed, so it's official.
Let's run it back, DC.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate it, Jay.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.